Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Series X, and this is my Missions mode Master Ninja difficulty guided walkthrough. We're currently on Mission 10 of 24. It is entitled Defeat All Fiends in the Castle. So this is in the story mode, this is the last area of the game. And this is a really tough mission. Now, I did take a look at what you have. They start you off with, as they usually do this, they start you off with 3 smaller healing items and then 1 grains. And as rough as this mission is, and it's long and it's uphill, and it's very grueling as well, because you've got a difficult boss fight as well with Dagger Die. They give you, I will say this, they give you a lot of items for this, but those items, I would not recommend using any of them until you get to Dagger Die. I mean, if you need to maybe use one, you can, but try not to, if you can help it, and try to get there with your full amount of Nimpo, because I don't believe you're going to have more than 2 uses of it, because you're not going to get a Spirit of the Devils. You're going to be picking up a lot of Lives of the Thousand Gods, though, so hopefully in watching this you'll be able to pick up everything, because I do skip over nothing here, and it there are times when it's kind of easy to walk past an item, but when you do this so many times, it becomes second nature, really. But these archers aren't too bad, because as frustrating as they can be sometimes, they're not the rocket launcher ones. Now, the rocket launcher ones take off a hell of a lot of damage on you, but those ones are not coming up quite yet. So you're going to be going up here, and this fight over here, if this gets out of hand, what I usually do is I will use the wind blades if things just get out of my control, because it's early on, and you could probably get another drop of a Nimpo throughout the course of all of this. But we're going to be utilizing our full inventory of everything that we have on hand. Incendiaries are great. I'll show you where they're most effective. And once you fight this last grouping of enemies over here, you're going to be going up these walls over here. And after every fight, there's one level where, well, maybe not 100% of the time, but there's one level like this where there's nothing. So when you see an empty area devoid of enemies, it's probably one of the locations of an item. So what I do is I come up here and I fly swallows in and drop this one, and then to the left, down one of the hills over there, there are more of these ones over here, and it is safer for you to just dash rather than jump and dash into a jump on this. But what you can do is you can use 1 incendiary to divest them of their weapon. And fortunately, there's not too many of them, but they damage you so heavily that it's not unfeasible that you would get killed early on just from them. So over here, what I think this is this the dual Resetsu fight? No. This is a hard fight, though. Many a time, I would just be so stubborn about not wanting to use a single item, because I was so concerned about, and rightly so, about Dagger Die, that I would get killed so many times. And the ironic thing would be, I would have plenty of healing items that could have prevented my getting killed, but I was just so stubborn about not topping off my health, and You've just got to do it, any way that you're comfortable. If you're comfortable having half health or a little bit less than half health, and trying to be careful not to miss this one. Spirit of the Devils. Oh, you get a Spirit of the Devils? Okay, I didn't think that you got one of those. That's a blessing, actually, because on Dagger Die, sometimes you could spawn a lot of Van Gelfs, and it's very helpful to have the ability to use the Spirit of the Devils to give yourself more Nimpo. Now on the zombies, I like to use the Incendiary Shurikens to hopefully get health or red essence. They're okay for dropping blues. Just remember that it only takes 2 daggers to kill them. And then I'm going to switch, and I would recommend that you switch to your Lunar over here and prepare a 360 UT for these ones. This takes off a hell of a lot of damage. The Tonfa works wonderfully over here too, but I do like the safety of the not necessarily the safety, but the comfortability factor of the Lunar. I really appreciate how on Master Ninja you could still do a hell of a lot of damage to enemies. It levels the playing field. If you don't want to kill them with an OT, you can try your luck at just doing maybe XXY a couple times and killing them traditionally without OTing them, and that could give you a blue essence drop, which if they drop it, it'll give you a lot of blue. But it's not really feasible to if there's if you're going after the first one and then there's still one other one around, it's hard to do that sort of manipulation. But coming up here, there's another item over here. You're just going to be picking up a lot of Lives of the Thousand Gods, grains, and everything for your... it's important over here. Do forward Y with the talons. It's not connecting, unfortunately, so that's giving me a little bit of a problem. But I've been stomped on by these guys so many times that it's embarrassing. But it is helpful to... it's also helpful knowing which wall to jump off first, so that you can land on, like when you land on top, land on the side that you want to, because you can control that by starting your jump on a particular wall. And I fell down here, and I think he's still up there, and there's a couple of these guys over here. I'll probably maybe shoot him with arrows if I need to. Yeah, but there's a couple up there, and I think one of these guys actually comes down here. Yeah, never trust that. That was the fact that didn't kill me is just pure luck, pure and simple luck. You gotta be really careful of these ones and save these incendiaries for them. So we are out of the incendiaries, but fortunately they're not vital to anything coming up. So I'm gonna maybe snipe this one. I got a critical on him, but since it's an OT, or excuse me, since it's an arrow UT, it's not gonna give me anything but yellow. And then this fight coming up over here, be really careful because you're gonna have undead enemies with also this level over here that had the Van Gelfs, you can't anticipate where they spawn and prepare a charge for them. I think you may have seen me do that. But just be really careful about these guys. They're very deceptive about any enemy that jumps at you to pounce on you is very dangerous. And it takes off way more health than it should. But coming up here, I think this is the undead ninjas with the worms. So be really careful that you don't go anywhere around the worms at first. And what I would do is I would use the Falcon's Talons to fly swallow a Xenodrop. These ones over here, and maybe once you get some staggered essence going for Tonfa ETs and UTs. there's only 2 worms, and you want to deal with the worms after you've killed all of these guys down here. And the worms, one of them has already been spawned, but once you kill the first one, the second one's going to crop up, and they crop up right where you're standing. So you need to be constantly moving around. Watch out for their acid balls. And what I would do is I would scythe them from distance. So notice the second we kill this one, the next one's going to spawn, and I have to keep moving constantly because it's going to spawn right where I'm standing pretty much, or my last known position according to the game. And I don't fool around with these ones because I don't want to get grabbed by them, because if they spear you with their tongue, I don't know if you can mash to get out of it. You might, but you're still going to take damage. And then on the dogs over here, if it's just one dog, you can use the flails. I believe it is the flails to do repeated X attacks. So let me see if I do switch to the flails over here. Here, don't forget this. I'm not sure if it's the lunar or the flails, but these are the fiend dogs. So yeah, it looks like I'm just using X attacks with the lunar. Sorry, it wasn't the flails. I'm not sure why I thought it was the flails. But there's only one dog on this level. But once you go up the next level, I believe there's 2 to 3 of them at a time. And you can't just stand there and press X because they're going to be grabbing you. One thing that you can do is you can spawn them and then jump down. I think that happens to me over here, or I fall down or something like that. You can flying swallow them. You can try to skip them, but one other thing you can do is you can use the lunar and do on landing 360 Y attacks, not charges per se, but just on landing 360 Ys, because that it does a spin attack that. It has some sort of armor property so that I believe you can get damage through it, but it's less than you would normally get damage through it, and I don't think they can grab you while you're doing that spin. Now I'm standing down here. I'm gonna snipe them because I don't want anything to do with them. I just don't trust them. So forgive me about having to do this, but they've grabbed me a fair bit, and I think like other animations in the game, if they grab you, you can mash the buttons and escape it, but I just want to have as much health as I possibly can going in for dagger die. Now I have seen players do an attack when dagger die is hovering in the air. If you use the Falcon's Talons, there's a move that I think it's XX forward XY that will levitate you into the air and do a slashing attack on him with the talons that essentially takes you from the ground way up into the air, and you can do a lot of damage to him that way, but I've never got it to work. It was either that I wasn't placed right, or maybe that input was just not the right one that I was thinking of. Yeah, okay, so one of the dogs fell down here, so I'm gonna I apologize about this. Anyway, he dropped red when he should have dropped blue. Okay, so that dog fell down here, and I don't know why I decided to chase this one down here. I guess what I was hoping for was a blue essence drop. You get pretty desperate when you have to do this, and I think I was doing this on and off for a couple of months, not able to do this. So that kind of tells you how horrible I am at it, or maybe how difficult it is, or maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, I couldn't get through it. I would always whore those items and then die having a lot of items on hand needlessly. So always keep your health topped off as much as you possibly can, because Dagger Die takes off so much damage with his attacks. And what I think is a good move. It's a decent move. It's easy to do. is the move we did on Zidonius earlier in the mission walkthrough, where with the scythe, you jump towards him, you press X to orient the character over to him, and then you press Y repeatedly. And he's gonna do what he wants to do. He's a very arbitrary boss about his moves, but he loves to spawn lackeys, and then he loves to throw down those pillars and then fire one at you that if it stabs you, you're in huge trouble. So if you can, use Nimpo when you suspect that he's going to use it. But again, you don't have that much, although you do have a Spirit of the Devils. So you could potentially have about, like 5 uses of the Nimpo. So that's pretty decent. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the Spirit of the Devils. But that spear attack that he does, that Spear of Light attack, it takes off so much. It really does. And sometimes he plays ball more than he normally does, where he stays on the ground a lot more. He does this move that if you wanted to, you can 360Y with the dual swords. But I find that the timing on that is a little bit too tight, and I always come down into the lightning and get hit anyway. So I think what I prefer usually to do over that move is just to do the jumping X, Y, Y attack with the scythe. I know you're just pressing Y in the air with it, but I find that if you press X first, it kind of locks the character onto the enemy a little bit more. And just always play it safe rather than sorry with keeping your health topped off. I know, as you're doing this, you're going to be depleting your resources and you're not going to have too much. But if you abstain from using any of your healing items throughout this entire mission and then get here with maximum amount of inventory, if you're cautious enough and things don't get completely crazy with him spawning so many waves of the lackeys, that there's going to be a lot better chance of you doing the mission. And then you can use Staggered Essence to charge off of and iframe through that attack right there. That's instant death in most instances if you don't have full health. So we've got 1 grains left, and we're just gonna try to go after him as much as you can. Sometimes it can be hard for the scythe to connect, even though it seems like you're right under him. But I find that this is a pretty effective way of dealing with this boss. And when I finished it, boy, after I don't know if it was several months, but it was a couple of months not being able to do this mission. It's really difficult. And the worst thing is, it's like a 20-minute mission. It's really long too, and it's literally uphill. So hopefully you were able to get through it as I was, but I wish I had known a lot of the personal downfalls that I had, even though I knew that I was being stingy about using those upgrades. But it was all because I was not wanting to. I guess I was just not wanting to use them, because I thought it was only an emergency use them. But I'm telling you, you need to keep your health topped off there, because you just receive so much damage from him, his attacks. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, that has been mission 10. I will see you in the 11th mission, and until then, please take care.